Hello, today I'm going to continue on with a FreeCodeCamp walkthrough. So today we're going to build a survey page that is functionally similar to this code pen, and the one we're going to make is going to look something like this. So quite similar to what they have, but just like different text and some different colors and a different background image. But yeah, we're going to build this today from scratch, and I'm just going to show you how to do that. So the first thing we want to do is, instead of using CodePen, we're going to want to use Visual Studio Code, because Visual Studio Code has a lot nicer like snippets and text editing available. So first thing you want to do is get Visual Studio Code, and then the next thing you want to do is go ahead and get the extension called Live Server. Live Server right here. Just get that, install it, and then you'll be able to click on and index that HTML page and be able to open it with Live Server, and then it'll just open it up right here. And then there it is. So this is what we just wrote right now, hello world. So I'm going to make this smaller so that we can see both screens at once when building this. All right, so there we go. So whatever we put here will display over there. So hey there, and then save it, and it automatically refreshes, and there it is. So that is great. Next thing we want to do is link up our style.css. So just go link, and then href of style.css, and bam, now they're linked up. So yeah, let's just start building this now. All right, so the first thing we can do is we can add this like header thing. So what we want to do there is just put header and then have it a class of header. I mean, I don't really need a class of header, but I kind of like to use classes instead of the actual take name. And then we'll have an h1 with an ID. So I'm using Emmet here of title. And then inside we'll just do cars and travel. Survey form. And then underneath that we'll do a p tag with an ID of description. And that will have, this is my survey form. Survey form for a free code camp challenge. And there we go. So there's our header. Save it, and then there it shows up. I'll style it after we do the HTML. So next thing with HTML is we're going to have the actual form. I'll use Emmet because it's way faster. Hashtag, so an ID of survey form. And then we'll tab through the action, and then we'll open it up, and we'll have our first kind of input form box. So we'll do a div with a class of form group, and then inside this form group we'll have a label with a class of form prompt. It'll be for the name attribute, and the input will be of type name. It'll have an ID of name as well. The type will be text, but yeah, it'll be name, and it's going to be required, and have a placeholder of enter your name. Enter your. The reason I'm doing all this stuff is because it says on this thing that we need a ID of title and h1, ID of description, and then we need the form, and then that has an ID of name, and it also has to be required. So yeah, I'm required. So yeah, and then also add like placeholders in it as well. Now we're going to add the email as well. So basically kind of the same thing here. So do Option Shift down on a Mac to copy and paste it down. So instead of name, we want to do email. So do Command D to select all of the parts that say name. or like Command D to like go down every time you hit D, and then just replace it with email. The type should also be email so that it verifies that it's an email. So there's our name field, email field. Next up, we're going to do another form group. This time it'll be age. So I could actually just copy this down again. Just copy this down, Option Shift down. So yeah, this one will be, instead of email, it'll be for age, like your age, and type will be not age, it'll be number. And then it will also have a, it's not required, it's optional, age, and then we'll do optional, and then we'll also have a min and a max. So a min of 10, so you got to be 10 years old, or max of, and a max of like 100, because not many people are over the age of 100. So yeah, there's our optional thing there, optional age. Right now it's a small thing, but we'll fix that later with the styles. First we'll do our form group, div form group, and then we'll do label of form prompt, like the other ones. It says choose your favorite car. So choose your favorite car. And then underneath that, we'll actually do the select box, or the select thing. So this will be a select with an ID of fave car, and it will have a name of favorite, and then inside of it we'll put our options. So option will be of class of option, and we'll have 5 of them. And the first one will be Camry, so Toyota Camry. I'll just fill these in quick. All right, there we go. We have all of our options: Camry, Civic, Taurus, Cruise, and Sonata. Next up, we will have a like, will you recommend this car? So we'll do a form group again with a label of form prompt, and this will be would you recommend the car you chose? Actually, question mark, and then we'll actually save that. So there we go. There's our text, or our select box, and then yeah, would you recommend the car you chose? And then this will be radio buttons. So for the radio button, we'll do each radio button will have its own label, right? And then inside that we'll have an input. We'll go input of class radio car recommend, and then type radio, and it will also have a value of, this one will be definitely, and then a name of car recommend. So car recommend, and then I have prettier installed, so it'll drop it down and make it look nice. And then inside this we'll have definitely. That's what it will be shown as a label. Save it, and there's the label definitely, and then you can select it. It will be selected by default as well, so we'll do checked to make it selected by default. So there, I refreshed and it's still checked. So we're going to add 2 more of these just by basically doing the option shift down again twice, and then we'll just change definitely with the maybe, and we'll change this one to not sure. So there's that. There we have our radio buttons. Next up, we're going to have a checkboxes that we have displayed. So we're going to start off with another div, a form group, And then inside this we'll do a label of form prompt again, and it will be places you want to go, and it'll be 4 places, and then we'll have our checkboxes. So it'll look a lot like the radio boxes, so I'll just copy one of them, and then instead of radio we'll do checkbox, right? And then the value will be maybe you want to go to Paris. The name will be places. It will not be checked by default, and it will say Paris, France. So there we go, places you want to go, Paris, France, and you can check it. And then we'll have a bunch of these. So, all right, let's just copy this down. We'll do Paris, New York, Moscow, Berlin. All right, there we go. We have our different places. We have Paris, France, New York, Moscow, Berlin, and Stockholm, Sweden. Next, we're just going to add our comments. We'll do a form group again, form group, or any additional comments. And then it'll have a label, and it'll be for the comments, or any additional comments. Any additional comments, question mark. And then we will have, actually, we'll use emit text area. I'll have a ID of comments. There we go. The name will be comments. Columns, we'll do 100. Row, we'll do 10. Placeholder, we'll have a placeholder of comments. Placeholder of comments, ... And now all we need is a submit button. So put that underneath that, and it'll be a button of class submit button. There we go, and it'll be submit, and it will be a type of submit. So type equals submit. There we go. And there it is. There's our page right now. So now we just got to make it look a lot nicer than this. Okay. So because we're just trying to turn this into this, right? We're going to go from this into this. So let's get started with that. Style.css. Let's look into it. So the first thing we want to do is we want to change the background. So we'll go body, and then we'll use this CSS selector of before, and that just adds content before everything in the body. So if we were to put something for this content here, I think it'll show up. Yeah, so there it is. But we actually don't want anything, so we'll just do content blank, and then we'll add in like a background image. So position will be fixed. We'll do top of 0, left of 0, left of 0. Height of 100%, width of 100%. Z-index of -1, so it'll go behind everything, right? And then background will be gray just in case this background image doesn't show up. Background image. And this will be, first we'll have a linear gradient over it, and it will be 115 degrees at an angle with an RGBA of, so it'll be like a gray color to like a light blue, 208, 212, and it'll also have an opacity of 0.8, and it will go to, I'll just copy it over, go to this, so it's a kind of a light blue, light gray type color, then we'll save that so it formats nice. And then so there's our gradient. It goes from gray to like this bluish, so that's kind of nice. For the background image, we'll do a URL of working together picture. It's just a random picture I found on Google Images, right? And there we go. Now we're going to make that background image look a lot nicer by doing some CSS properties here. First one we're going to add is called background size. Background size, cover, and then we'll do background repeat of no repeat, and then we'll do background position of center, and yeah, there we go. Now it looks a lot nicer because it's just one image in the background. All right, next up we're just going to make this form look a lot nicer, right? But we'll start with the header. So remember we had a header class that I named. This will have a display of flex direction. So anything flex, first you have to do display flex, then you can do a bunch of different things with the flex properties. Color will be RGBA again, and it'll be 33, blue of 89, and alpha of just 1. I mean, I guess I don't really need that, but whatever. Font size will be 30 pixels, and align items center. And we'll see what that looks like. There we go, there's our header. Looks pretty nice. Next up, we're going to do the actual survey form. So we had an ID on it of survey form, I believe. It should at least. And then background color, it will be an RGBA of 33, 55, and 0.8, so you can see through it. It'll have a margin of 0 pixels and then 10%. So the first one is the Y. So it'll have a margin of 0 up and down, and then it'll have a margin of 10% inside. So it'll like kind of scrunch together. Padding will be 5 rem and 8 rem. We'll see what that looks like for now. So yeah, the comments box is quite big and doesn't look super good yet, but it'll get there. Border radius will be 0.25 rem. Right. And then we want to also add a media query onto this. So media queries make it more responsive because you can set this max width property to whatever you want, or yeah, to a screen size basically. And then you can change properties based on that. So we'll change the survey form, and we'll change the padding of it to less. So it'll be 2.5 rem and 2 rem. So we'll see what that looks like now. So since it is actually underneath this max width, the screen size is at least, it kind of changed it. Next up, we'll do these form groups. So for each form group, we'll do a display of flex and a flex direction of column, flex direction of column, and we will also do change the font family of it to Arial. There we go. So there, it's looking a lot nicer now. It's actually inside the box, everything is. We just need to change the font color and stuff like that. So to change the font color, we'll do form prompt select that, and we'll do a font size first of all to 25 pixels and a color of white, right? Or color of kind of white. Hashtag EEE. So that is just like off-white. Slightly gray. Font family, we'll do the same thing kind of as the other one. Go Arial. And there we go. So yeah, that looks a lot nicer for these. Now we're going to change the labels. So these labels here that are still black, you want to change those. So label, and we'll do display flex on them. Line item center. We'll do font size, so make them a little bigger, of 18 pixels. We'll go margin bottom of 5 pixels, so give them some space. See what that looks like for now. So a little better. We just need the color. That'll make a big difference. So there we go. Now they're white, and we'll go font family of. This time we'll do Cambria. There we go. So that looks a lot better. Next up, we'll do the inputs and my favorite car, like drop down. So we'll change these. We'll have a padding of 10 pixels. Actually, I probably should make this text a little bigger. So to do that, I'll do Control plus, Command Shift plus. There we go. Command Shift plus makes Visual Studio Code text bigger. So, all right. We'll add in a margin, border, outline. Okay, yeah. Margin, we'll do 5 pixels and 0 pixels. We'll add a border of none, outline of none. We'll do border radius of 3 pixels. We'll do font size of 18 pixels. And we will have a color that is like dark gray. So let's do 222. See what that looks like. So yeah, these got a lot nicer. These look a lot nicer. So that's nice. Now we want to change these like input fields, I'm guessing. So we'll start with, yeah, we'll do the radio, car recommend, and the places, right? So that's both of those. And we will add a display of inline block, margin right of 0.65 rem. We'll add a min height to them and a min width. Min height of 1.25, so we'll make it a little bigger, and also some for min width. There we go. So yeah, those look a lot nicer now. Next up, we'll change this comments box to look a lot nicer. So to do that, we are going to add a selector of hashtag comments, and font size we'll make bigger to 20 pixels. Almost done here. Color, we'll go at dark gray again. Padding, 10 pixels. Give it some padding. Font family, we'll do Arial. There we go. See what that looks like. So yeah, looks a lot nicer now. Next up, we're gonna style the submit button. So right now it's pretty boring. We'll select it with submit button. Submit button. We'll give it a background color of this green. We'll go hashtag 55DD 55, and then something that you want to know is the last two on a hashtag on a hexadecimal color is actually the opacity. So F0 is pretty close to 1, so it won't be super opacity, but if I had it as like 1, 1, for example, then it's really, really like see-through. But in this case, I don't really want it very see-through, so I'll do F0. So yeah, there's our submit button. We'll go border of none, cursor pointer, so that when I hover over it, it'll actually be a pointer. Font size of 30 pixels. Padding, add some padding to it. Add some padding to the X and Y, but nothing to the, or add padding to the Y, but not to the X, because we'll just do width of 100%. So that'll just stretch it out anyways. So yeah, there's our submit button. And then we also want to change it when we hover over it. So submit button hover. This just gives it a good effect for buttons. So we just want to change the background color slightly. So we'll change it from that 55 db55 to 55 ff55, and then same opacity. And there we go. So now when I hover over the submit button, it should change. Yeah, there we go. It changes to lighter. Oh, one thing I forgot to add is in this form group, we actually don't need this font family, and instead we want to do a padding of 20 pixels for the Y and 0 for the X. And that should make it, there we go, space out a lot nicer. And I think now it looks kind of like what I had before. So you see when it gets bigger, it looks nice. When it gets smaller, because of the media queries, it will like keep looking nice. So right here it changes. So right here must be around 1076 pixels. So yeah, that's pretty cool. That's all I have for you today. Give it a like if you thought I did a good job on this. And I'll see you later. Probably do the product landing page next, so stay tuned for that.